Barcelona, the capital of Catalonia and a cultural metropolis by the Spanish Mediterranean. After Paris, it's the most densely populated large city in Europe. Creativity, tradition, and cultural heritage, a mixture that pulls in more and more visitors every year. Barcelona's sandy beach is where everyone comes together. It offers Lapin a lot of material for his sketches. The French illustrator has chosen to make Barcelona his home. Architecture, the old Barceloneta, the people. I capture the parts of the city that are disappearing, like the warehouses at the Calle Tanger, being torn down soon. Everything that was inside has already been destroyed. I'm in love with this city. My first book was titled Barcelona, I Love You. The chemistry is right. Every time I come back, it's like coming home. This is where half of Europe spends their short holidays. It's like a permanent bachelor party. But the city has other faces. I'm intrigued by what's closed off, the hard-to-reach, secretive Barcelona. The focus of Lapin's new Barcelona book are the beachgoers and their relationship with the sea. You have an incredibly soft gaze.
Wow.
Capturing the look is the hardest thing. As soon as I have the eyes, the rest draws itself. When Lapin isn't drawing for his advertising clients, he's sketching out in the open and often talks to his models.
The sea means everything to me. I think I would die without the sea. When I am sad, I come here and everything is okay. I feel like a completely different person. Good. Even the watch.
Sure, it's great, especially as it's a diver's watch. The people are less stressed here and warm-hearted. They take time to live.
Plus humain, plus chaleureux.
Barcelona has been in a state of constant growth for decades. New housing and restorations have been pushing up rent as gentrification is closing in on the old locals. But the Catalonians are still there, and with them their culture and determination. Ana González Simón comes from central Spain. The draper has been living in Barcelona for 4 years.
People always say the Catalonians are greedy and closed off. They want to split off and have nothing to do with Spain. When I moved here, I noticed that the people did not fit the image that is painted of them in the media. They are open and accepting to all. Are you coming down? Now I feel at home in both worlds. We are all Iberian after all, and share the same culture.
Ana gets her neighbors together every Thursday. They're training to build a human tower, a Catalonian national sport. There are only a few weeks to go until the most important competition of the year. The club has elected Ana as their trainer, even though she's not Catalonian.
We're all nervous. So don't hassle me and don't fool around. Get to work. You need 4 things to make a human tower: strength, balance, courage, and common sense. You can't build a tower without gumption, no matter how strong you are. Quiet, please. Line up. You've got entangled. Can you take a step to the right? Go together. Bit by bit, tighter. Upright, strong, stay together. Good. More tension on the corner. Trust is the most important thing. Everyone has to rely on one another. It only works together. Sometimes, when you climb up, you are scared of falling. You really have to concentrate.
The Catalonians have never forgotten that their sport was banned under Franco.
I have never belonged to something big. You just stop thinking about yourself and fight and work for a common goal.
There's a lot to talk about during the breaks. The training, but also the self-confidence of the Catalonians. I think people build human towers because they identify with that element of Catalonian culture. It longs for independence. We're defending our tradition with the human tower. For the people, independence means the freedom to have their own culture and live their own traditions. Catalonia has been under central power for more than 300 years. It represses us and has always fought against our language and culture. Independence is nothing more than moving out of your parents' home. That needs to be respected. The majority of Catalonians are striving for independence. Madrid is staying firm and wants to prevent a separation. Franco's allies bombed Barcelona almost 400 times. The attack on Plaça Joan Armades was even carried out in broad daylight. Even today, Spain has not fully processed its civil war. It is suppressed. Artist Jorge Gerada is trying to change that. This is one of the places in Barcelona where the memory can still be seen. Those are bullet holes. Many people lost their lives in this square. So much terror and hate. What remains is a great unconsciousness. In March 1938 alone, there were over 900 victims. The civil war forced hundreds of thousands to flee the city. Jorge confronts the horror in his art. He's looking for archive material in the public library. My family was affected too. My grandparents had to flee, first to New York and then to Havana. That's where I was born. It's interesting that families emigrate and then return after 3 generations. The building was a hospital until the 1930s. When it became a library, books and manuscripts banned by the Franco regime were hidden here. Today, these testimonies of Catalan culture are accessible to everyone. Jorge has found some interesting pictures. I like these photos. I have to find out if I can use them. Jorge Gerada has a reputation in the Barcelona art scene. Not surprising, as his art confronts taboos. He wants to beam an old photo of refugees fleeing from the civil war into the present. It should look like the person is looking into the past. The memory can be seen in their look. From far away, it looks like a reflection in their pupils that makes what is seen look real. The image is divided into vector points. A satellite sends the GPS signals onto the concrete and joins them to one another. Jorge has called the project Recordar, remembering. The crimes from all warring sides should finally be called out. I want to say, people should never have to flee again to be safe. That needs to finally stop. That's my message. The artistic experiment relies on the participation of locals and passers-by. This is dark brown paint. You need to shake it, and it has a special nozzle, and this is how you draw a line. If you hold the can sideways, it becomes wider. The aim is to stay as close as possible to the original line. Jorge has chosen a spot in the city center for the artwork. For the artist, it is the first step in bringing the past into today's consciousness. It's a task you can't avoid, especially here in the heart of the city. I won't stop until it's finished, until late at night if I have to. Tomorrow, we'll see how it looks by daylight. Jorge's art is not meant to last forever. The next time it rains, it will be washed away. Following the stagnation of the Franco era, the city is focusing on renewal and, since the late 1980s, futuristic architecture. Barcelona's cultural heritage was also restored to its former glory, bit by bit. June the 10th is the anniversary of a tragic accident. In 1926, an elderly man fell under a tram. He was neglected and emaciated, so was brought to the Paupers Hospital, where he died 3 days later. The man was Antoni Gaudí, one of the greatest architects in Spain. His masterpiece remains unfinished, the Basilica Sagrada Familia.
I think that's an interesting thing.
This one piece will make 52 layers.
Watch on mobile devices or the big screen. All for free. No subscription required.
Here, we're at 85 meters. The new Jesus Christ Tower will be 172 meters higher than that crane.
The House of God will be ready in time for the 100th anniversary of Gaudí's death.
An ambitious goal, but we're sticking to it.
Architect Marta Miralpeix is in charge of the largest church construction site in the world. 40 architects and 200 builders are working on the site at the moment. Progress has never been so fast. The Sagrada Familia impresses with its shapes and colors. The deeply religious Gaudí wanted nothing less than to chisel God's creation into stone.
Studying Gaudí and his geometry is fascinating. You can barely stop.
Antoni Gaudí was the most prominent supporter of modernism, the Catalan Art Nouveau style. At the age of only 31, he was commissioned to complete a Gothic church. He confidently rejected the original plans and relied on a radically new structure.
¿Qué? ¿Cómo va?
How's it going?
¿Acabando ya? ¿Ya está ya? ¿Ya va aquí?
Are you finished?
Aquí el pati. Hosti, això ja ho tenim aquí, no? Aquí veieu com treballàvem
In the
fins ara,
past,
que era
we
posar
made
la
the
pedra
cladding
dintre,
from
posar-la
stone
fora,
that is filled
llavors
with
abans de
reinforced
fer
concrete.
armàvem tot el conjunt.
Today's technique is more high-tech. Building with reinforced concrete would take just as long as it did in Gaudí's time.
He knew that the building would not be finished in his lifetime. To keep future generations interested, he first built the facade. The plan worked.
Only the east entrance was built by Gaudí himself. The remaining facade comes from generations of other architects and differing techniques. But the revolutionary element is inside and comes from Gaudí. The statics of Gothic churches are based on complex buttresses to divert the weight of the arched roof and the wind load from the central nave. Gaudí, however, did not want to use buttresses and looked for another solution. He found his answer in nature. His pillars distribute their weight on side arms that tower into the sky like trees. The weight of the roof flows through them into the ground. It's supposed to symbolize fire. How do you shape fire? In the workshop inside the church, Albert Portolès is building a model of the Sagrada Familia. Everyone should know that we're not using our own imagination. We're following the path that Gaudí has forged. As Gaudí's sketches were burnt in the Spanish Civil War, the only source are his original models that were destroyed and in 8,800 pieces that had to be painstakingly reassembled. They were thrown into a ditch. We recovered and studied them bit by bit. Windows, domes, ceilings, towers, everything we know is documented here. It's as if someone breaks a glass, hides the pieces, and you have to put them back together. Just that it's a complete set. Deciphering Gaudí's calculations took decades of detective work. The latest generation of architect relies on prefabricated construction.
Gaudí worked with stone, so we don't just want to use stone ornately, but as a building substance.
The transport of a part of the Evangelist Tower to Barcelona. A machine cut it in one whole piece. 21 tons of stone connected by steel screws. Only the surface is handcrafted by stonemasons. For the first time, it seems realistic that the highest cathedral in the world will be completed.
The future is already here. These are parts of the towers that will go at the top. It fills you with pride when what you've been working on for such a long time is finally built.
The new building technique allows for several levels to be built at once and then put together. Barcelona underwent the most comprehensive urban renewal in the lead up to the Olympics in 1992. The city was opened up towards the sea. Apartment blocks were built in the old town and tunnels for the traffic flow. A leisure harbour and promenade were also built. The artist Lapin is exploring Barceloneta. The beach is artificial. We're in a city that for a long time only opened land inwards. For centuries, the city's enemies would attack from the sea. That was the easiest way. That was centuries ago. These beach veterans have different stories to tell. What did it used to look like? There were beach bars everywhere. And the sand on the beach is renewed every year? They get the sand from the sea. Because the waves always wash the sand away. When I came here 10 years ago, countless lorries would bring the sand. Yes, exactly. And the ocean has been gnawing at the coast. In the storms, yes. Juan, that's you. I draw everyone how they are. I do it for myself. It's my history of Barcelona, of the people, this area. Barcelona brings opposites together. New and old, dynamic and relaxed, postmodern and traditional. Since the Olympics, the number of tourists has tripled. As part of the harbour renovations, the largest Mediterranean aquarium in Europe at the time was built. One day I was feeding a shark when another one came from behind and bit me in the shoulder. The wetsuit was ruined, but it saved me. It wasn't its fault. Sharks don't see what they're biting into. He just smelt the food. Every day, at precisely 12 o'clock, David Magdaleno gets into the pool to feed the sharks. If they didn't get their lunch on time, the animals would go on the hunt for food. We've tried a lot of fish, tuna, eaglefish, mullet. Finally, we decided that bonito was their favorite. But it has to be very fresh, otherwise they won't eat it. They're quite spoiled sharks. You could say we deliver a menu to order. 450 different species from the Mediterranean are at home in the aquarium. I like the animals very much. It should be as nice as possible for them here. I really want to improve the relationship between us humans and sharks. It's not just the sharks, but also an octopus that puts David's skills to the test. I'll try with a net. She's eating another octopus that died. They're cannibals. Davide is responsible for each of the animals' well-being. He's trying to get the octopus's prey. She won't eat all of it, maybe just a piece, but she'll definitely play with it. She's watching us. If she felt stressed, she would have squirted ink by now. Octopi are very intelligent. The 7 terminals make Barcelona the largest cruise ship port in Europe. It's the Miami of the Caribbean. 740 giant ships dock every year, with 2.6 million on board. Barcelona's wealth was first made in the Pinu District in the northeast. In the 19th century, this was the densest industrial area in Spain. Nowadays, it's a trendy area and hub for high tech, even in fashion.
Here are 2 buttons, connected by an electric cable. One is positive, the other negative. They run along the body. A control module connects the circuit to the Wi-Fi.
Anastasia Pistofidou is designing clothes that do more than just keep you warm. Her bodysuit can even communicate. If the wearer moves, the fabric reacts to the change in muscle tension and transmits electrical impulses. It can also measure temperature and cool the body when it's hot. Intelligent clothing is revolutionizing the fabric industry.
You can set the sensors to moisture and measure the soil around a pot plant, which would be the input. The output would be a system that waters plants. Or it measures the moisture in an apartment, and the output would be closing the blinds.
Originally from Greece, she came to Barcelona 7 years ago to work in the fabrication laboratory, the Fab Lab, and develop intelligent materials with scientists and programmers. International universities are funding the research.
We are getting everything together and packing the suitcase for Shenzhen.
Anastasia's new collection is destined for the catwalk in China. She's currently working on fibers that can store energy and transmit information. She's experimenting with materials made from tea and mushrooms and is producing bioplastic.
It's important that it's degradable. It dissolves in rain.
With water, gelatine and a thermopigment, Anastasia is making a cocktail that reacts to body temperature.
In the sun, the material goes white. If you put it on the skin, you can instantly see what happens.
Anastasia is a digital nomad. She's teaching the future of production technology from Hong Kong to Santiago de Chile.
We are looking for new materials. This industry has to finally adapt to the innovations of the past 30 years. The era of individual designers and brands is over. Fashion will be democratized. Everyone can make his or her own clothing.
Fab Lab researchers love the idea. Their combinations, patterns, and machines are available to anyone who wants to produce themselves.
You could talk about a personalized mass production. That's the future.
futuristic clothing is well received at a pre-premiere in a hip bar. So far, Anastasia has only produced individual pieces, but the industry is foreseeing a profitable business. Barcelona invests in trends. For the Nouveau Cirque, the city is building an ultra-modern artist centre. 3,000 square meters of training ground for artists and artistes. Tony Gutierrez was 21 and studying biology when he decided to make a childhood dream come true. He put all his savings into acrobatics training.
Doncs el que més m'agrada de fer-hi
I like lifting off the ground.
marxes una mica del que
It's
és el
how
terra,
I escape the everyday
i t'allunyes
and create something unique,
passa al teu voltant,
something new in the
que
air.
crees una cosa molt
Air is my element.
única entre tu, l'aire, l'element, i això és molt bonic. Vinc d'un poble molt petit.
I come from a small village where a few circuses live.
Moltíssimes companyies de circ on
As a child, I'd watch their performances in the street.
fent coses pel carrer.
They were my heroes, alongside the ones in comic books.
Seguia pues, els còmics.
In Barcelona, the world elite of acrobats come together to train.
Allò és com jugar, és com quan eres petit i quedaves a la
It's like when you were little.
per anar-te'n
You
a
meet your
fer
friends on the town square to play, fool around, and see who would do the biggest and boldest dares.
Ens agrada arriscar-nos, ens agrada...
We like taking risks.
En risc, de fet ens agrada.
If the game of risk goes wrong, it can be painful. Tony and his trapeze partner Asfin have been training for months for the premiere this weekend.
Jo estava estirat a
I was
terra,
lying on the
doncs,
ground and
anava
holding
tirant
her, and she climbed up and turned into her position.
He cried out, but I couldn't put my foot back quickly enough. The pole fell right onto my toes and broke 2 of them.
It really hurt her. She was screaming like a pig on the way to slaughter.
com un porc quan el fan a la matança.
Accidents are an immediate threat to the acrobat's livelihood.
Per mi és una
It's a
cosa
big
molt
thing
gran,
for me.
No només perquè
The person whom I work with and who is closest to me got hurt.
s'ha fet mal i a sobre s'ha
It was
fet
partly
mal.
my fault, even if we don't say it out loud.
Culpa meva.
The
que
guilt
encara que
gnaws at me.
I així, sinó que alhora li van venir al cap.
I need to clear my head now and trust that I will be able to train again.
Sí. Comencem fent tot el passer, sense l'entrada.
Should we do it once through?
Yes, as far as we can get.
They're working on a piece that they already performed together several years ago. Tony can't shake the accident with Asfin, and his confidence has taken a hit.
Perdó,
I'm sorry.
perdona, guapa.
No problem.
Mai ens passava res. Llavors, què passa? Que cada dia vas un...
This never used to happen.
Passa el
Every
que
day you
realment
dare
no
to go a
t'havies
bit
ni
further
imaginat que podia
until you achieve more than you ever envisaged.
certa addicció.
It's like an addiction to always want to outdo yourself.
Esforç per superar-se dia a dia.
As well as concentrating on the choreography, Tony also has to take control of his insecurity.
Just don't look.
For the Human Tower competition, Barcelona's different districts are competing against each other. The event is held in front of the town hall. Even Anna is excited today. 8 levels is the goal.
Words fail you. You're standing on the outside and can only shout. That moment when a human tower collapses, you can't describe it.
Only one small injury, but Anna's club is out of the competition.
The fall hurt, but the hurt pride is worse. Human towers collapse sometimes. You have to learn that. When it falls, you build it back up.
Lapin is sketching in the old harbour today. I'm happy to see that there's still traditional fishing. I know it from Brittany, where I grew up. In a metropolis like Barcelona, it seems almost anachronistic. There may be only a dozen fishing boats left, but the dragnets are still there and the faces are the same. It's like I'm seeing the fishermen from Brittany here again. Fishing and the industrial port are no longer in the city, but even they're being gradually pushed out by the tourists.
Ils sont en train d'ailleurs d'être repoussés petit à petit pour être évincés du centre touristique.
A small warehouse is serving as an auction hall. The chefs from the local restaurants are bidding for the catch of the day.
Les poissons passent à toute vitesse
Oh,
devant.
it's too quick. I tried to sketch a sea bass, eel or squid. Prawns too.
Les gambas. Et ce qui était drôle de voir derrière, c'était les gradins.
It was amusing to see the people behind it. They were like an audience in a play called Fish in Transit.
Passage de la pêche.
Very good. You got it.
Are there still as many fishermen?
No, much less.
So there used to be more boats?
Yes, a whole fleet. Only 12 of them are left. One belongs to me, the Francesca Louis.
One of those?
Yes, exactly. My first son is called Francesc, the other Louis.
The fishing harbour and the cruise ship terminal are only 500 metres apart. This is a part of Barcelona that's in danger of disappearing due to the mass tourism. Everything's becoming global, the fast food world. Luckily, there's still a city behind it, one that has remained authentic. There's an imbalance, a disparity. The Barcelonans are the first to suffer and complain about the droves of tourists. They're fed up.
Ça crée un ras-le-bol, oui, c'est sûr.
The market halls of La Boqueria have the flair of times past and offer any delicacy the heart desires. Back home in Senegal, Soli never stood behind a stove. In Barcelona, he's made it to restaurant chef. What do you recommend? For esqueixada, the Aragon olives are the best. The most important ingredient for the Catalonian speciality esqueixada is still missing: the cod. Solly has the choice of dried cod or raw cod in brine. The restaurant Mescladís is a non-profit venture and lies in the heart of the Old Town. Refugees receive gastronomic training here. Solly is in charge of the 12-strong team.
Mescladís ha cambiado muchísimas cosas en mi vida.
Mescladís has changed a lot in my life. Not just work, but from a personal perspective. I now know who I am.
La parte humana, la parte de saber quién soy.
Solly had been in Spain for 2 years before he became a part of the program and was trained as a chef. Now he even has a Spanish work permit. The thing is, you don't just cook. You're giving people food. And for me, that's like a ritual. The menu is colorful. Traditional recipes from the native countries of his colleagues and Catalonian specialities, such as esqueixada. The ingredients are very easy. Cod mixed with red onions. It's very tasty in salads. You just add the delicious black olives from Aragon. Some red pepper. And finally, some tomatoes for decoration. The most important thing is a good, cold-pressed olive oil. And already we have a typical local dish, esqueixada with cod.
Marco,
Initially founded as a private initiative, Mescladís has become a flagship program for integration. Solly is teaching the participants who are waiting tables. We're friendly to everyone and smile. It shows them that this is a special place. I am the best example. You have to keep fighting. The path may be long, but you finally do get there. It's very important to believe in it. When Solly arrived in Barcelona, his future was uncertain. He risked his life when he fled to Spain on a rickety wooden boat. I can't swim, not even a little. The boat went clack with every wave. You think it will fall apart. 5 days on the boat, and you're always thinking, when will it sink? Solly was lucky. Unlike many others, he had solid ground under his feet again after 6 days. Barcelona gave him a real chance. He began a new life in the Catalonian capital. For many people, the beach is a place of fun. It has a very different meaning for me. The sea is like a travel agent. It's changed my life. Thanks to the water, I've got to where I am today.
Gracias al agua he podido llegar donde has llegado.